Picture the Giza Plateau at dawn. The first sunlight ignites the Great Pyramid's capstone, casting gold across ancient stone. The Sphinx gazes on, silent witness to nearly 5 millennia of history. These wonders weren't built by aliens but by people, ingenious, organized, and driven by belief. The pyramids are humanity's boldest statement, a civilization rising from the Nile's banks to become the world's first superpower. Even today we're still unraveling their secrets. How did they do it? Why? These questions have drawn explorers and dreamers here for centuries. But Egypt's story is more than pyramids. It's about survival, innovation, and the enduring power of culture. It all began long before the pharaohs, in a world transformed by climate and migration. The ancestors of pyramid builders were nomads, following herds across a green Sahara. As the climate changed and the land dried, they sought a new home. That home, and the source of Egypt's greatness, was the Nile. Our journey into Egypt's past begins there. North Africa was once a lush, green savanna stretching as far as the eye could see. This vast landscape was teeming with life. Herds of giraffes and elephants roamed freely, while ancient hunters tracked their prey beneath the open sky. It was a world full of abundance, where people and animals thrived together in a vibrant ecosystem. These nomadic peoples left behind vivid rock art, carved and painted onto stone. These images are snapshots of a lost paradise, capturing scenes of daily life, hunting, and the animals that once flourished here. But around 8,000 years ago, everything changed. The rains that had nourished the land faded away, the lakes and rivers dried up, and the Sahara slowly transformed into the vast desert we know today. The once green world turned to sand and stone. Forced to adapt to this harsh new reality, people began to migrate in search of water and fertile land. Their journey led them to the Nile, the only reliable source of water for hundreds of miles in every direction. The Nile became Egypt's lifeline, a narrow green ribbon winding through the endless desert. Along its banks, life could flourish even as the world around it grew ever more arid. Each year, the river would flood its banks, spreading rich, dark silt across the land and renewing the soil. This natural cycle made the valley incredibly fertile, perfect for growing crops. People learned to harness this annual rhythm, building their villages on high ground to avoid the floods, and planting their crops in the rich earth left behind. They became skilled at working with the river, turning its power to their advantage. This shift from hunting and gathering to settled farming was nothing short of revolutionary. It changed the way people lived, worked, and thought about the world. The Nile's predictability allowed communities to grow larger, to trade with one another, and to innovate in ways never before possible. Villages became towns, and towns became the seeds of a civilization. Without the river, Egypt's civilization would have been impossible. The desert was unforgiving, but the Nile brought hope and opportunity. The Nile was more than just water. It was the foundation of everything to come, the heart of a new world. Here, in this fertile valley, the seeds of greatness were sown, and the story of Egypt truly began. Egypt truly was, as the ancient historian Herodotus said, the gift of the Nile, a land shaped and sustained by its mighty river. And so began the rise of a new society, destined to leave its mark on history for thousands of years to come. Along the banks of the Nile, ancient villages flourished, their people relying on the river's life-giving waters for food, transport, and connection. Over time, these communities began to trade and interact, eventually forming 2 distinct kingdoms, Lower Egypt in the fertile north and Upper Egypt in the rugged south, each shaped by their unique landscapes and cultures. For centuries these lands were sometimes rivals, sometimes allies, each ruled by its own king, with its own crown, traditions, and powerful symbols of authority. Then, around 3100 BCE, a visionary ruler named Narmer emerged. Through diplomacy, conquest, and innovation, he united the 2 lands, forging what many consider the world's first true nation-state. The Narmer palette, a remarkable artifact, tells this story in carved stone. 1 king, 2 crowns, and the birth of a single unified Egypt. Unification was more than just a military victory. It created a new identity for the Egyptian people and a powerful symbol, the double crown, worn by the pharaoh as lord of both lands. The pharaoh became more than a ruler. He was seen as a living god, responsible for upholding truth, order, and justice, known as Ma'at, the guiding principle of Egyptian civilization. As long as Ma'at was maintained, Egypt prospered, its fields abundant, and its people secure. The new capital at Memphis became the beating heart of a centralized government. Here, pharaohs organized vast irrigation projects, expanded trade networks, and established a sophisticated bureaucracy, with scribes and officials managing resources, taxes, and the affairs of state. This was the dawn of dynastic Egypt, a system of rule and tradition that would endure remarkably for over 3,000 years. The groundwork was laid for the wonders and achievements that would define Egypt for millennia to come. Egypt was now united, stable, and ready to build on its newfound strength and unity. The age of the pyramids was about to begin, marking the start of one of history's greatest civilizations. The Old Kingdom, often called Egypt's Golden Age, witnessed the extraordinary rise of the pyramids, monuments that would define a civilization for millennia. It all began with the genius of Imhotep, the visionary architect who designed the step pyramid at Saqqara for Pharaoh Djoser, transforming the traditional mastaba tomb into a multi-layered stone marvel. This bold innovation sparked a revolution in architecture and engineering, inspiring generations of builders to reach ever higher. Pharaoh Sneferu experimented with new pyramid designs, refining techniques and learning from each attempt, but it was his successor Khufu who achieved perfection at Giza. The Great Pyramid, constructed from over 2 million massive stones, stood as the tallest structure on Earth for thousands of years, a feat unmatched in the ancient world. These awe-inspiring monuments were far more than tombs. They were resurrection machines, meticulously designed to launch the pharaoh's soul to the stars and ensure his eternal life among the gods. The Giza complex, with its grand temples and the enigmatic Sphinx, formed a city of the dead, securing the king's immortality and symbolizing Egypt's stability and cosmic order. Society was highly organized. At the top stood the pharaoh, followed by priests, officials, and the vast majority, farmers and skilled artisans who supported the kingdom's ambitions. Contrary to popular myth, the pyramids were not built by slaves but by skilled Egyptian workers, laborers who were respected for their craft and dedication. These laborers lived in nearby villages, were well housed and fed, and took immense pride in their work, leaving behind evidence of a vibrant community. The achievements of the Old Kingdom were truly unmatched, setting a standard for all future civilizations, but its era of glory would not last forever. Even as the pyramids rose, the seeds of change and decline were already being sown within the kingdom. Egypt was about to face its first great crisis, a turning point that would reshape its destiny and echo through the ages. The Old Kingdom collapsed under economic strain, drought, and the rise of powerful local governors. Egypt fractured, plunging into chaos and famine, the first intermediate period. For 150 years, rival dynasties vied for control. Out of this turmoil, Mentuhotep II of Thebes reunited Egypt, ushering in the Middle Kingdom. This era was pragmatic and resilient. Pharaohs were seen as shepherds, not distant gods. Art and literature reflected new realism and introspection. Middle Kingdom rulers invested in irrigation, reclaimed farmland, and fortified borders. They reformed government to curb local power and restore central authority. Egypt was rebuilt, stronger and wiser from its hardships. The Middle Kingdom became Egypt's classical age, a model of stability and innovation. But new challenges and foreign invaders were on the horizon. After another period of upheaval, Egypt entered its most powerful era, the New Kingdom. The pharaohs, now warrior kings, forged an empire stretching from Syria to Nubia. Wealth poured in, gold, exotic goods, and tribute from conquered lands. Thebes became the world's richest city, and pharaohs built colossal temples to honor the gods, especially Amun-Ra. Karnak and Luxor rose as the largest religious complexes ever built. Legendary rulers like Hatshepsut, Thutmose III, and Tutankhamun left their mark. Pharaohs were buried in secret tombs in the Valley of the Kings, hoping to thwart grave robbers. The New Kingdom also saw religious revolution. Akhenaten tried to enforce worship of a single god, the Aten, but his reforms were quickly reversed. This era was dynamic, filled with ambition, art, and drama. Egypt's influence reached its peak, but internal and external pressures would soon threaten its power. The glory of the New Kingdom would not last forever. Foreign rule was coming. Egypt's fate was about to change. Before the New Kingdom, Egypt endured humiliation under foreign rule. The Hyksos, migrants from the Near East, settled in the Nile Delta and introduced new technologies, chariots and composite bows. As Egypt's central power faded, the Hyksos seized control of the north, ruling from avarice. Native pharaohs clung to power in Thebes, paying tribute to their foreign overlords. This division fueled resentment and a drive for liberation. The Theban kings adopted Hyksos technology, built their armies, and launched a war of independence. Amose finally expelled the Hyksos around 1550 BCE, reuniting Egypt. The trauma of foreign rule changed Egypt's mindset. Never again would they be so vulnerable. The new kingdom's empire building was born from this determination. Egypt would now look outward, seeking security through strength. The age of empire had begun. After the new kingdom's glory, Egypt entered a long decline. Internal strife and foreign invasions weakened the state. Libyans, Nubians, and then Assyrians ruled parts of Egypt. In 525 BCE, the Persians conquered Egypt, making it a province of their empire. Brief periods of independence followed, but foreign domination persisted. In 332 BCE, Alexander the Great arrived, welcomed as a liberator. He founded Alexandria, blending Greek and Egyptian culture. After his death, the Ptolemaic dynasty ruled, Greeks as pharaohs, culminating in Cleopatra VII. Cleopatra's alliances with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony couldn't save Egypt from Rome. After her defeat, Egypt became a Roman province. The line of pharaohs ended, but Egypt's legacy endured. The ancient world had changed forever, yet Egypt's story was far from over. Even after the last pharaoh, Egypt's culture persisted, influencing Rome and beyond. The worship of Isis and Osiris spread across the empire. With Christianity and Islam, the old ways faded, temples were abandoned, and hieroglyphs were forgotten. For centuries, Egypt's secrets lay buried. Napoleon's scholars reignited fascination, and the Rosetta Stone unlocked the language of the pharaohs. Today, Egypt's allure is stronger than ever. Why? The scale of ambition, the beauty of art, and the enduring mystery. New discoveries still reshape our understanding. Tombs, cities, and ancient DNA. Egypt teaches us about resilience, adaptation, and the power of belief. It's a story of human ingenuity and the quest for eternity. From nomads to queens, Egypt's journey is timeless. Its echoes still call to us, waiting to be uncovered. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through ancient Egypt. If you enjoyed the adventure, please give us a like, subscribe for more fascinating history, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your support helps us bring more stories to life. Until next time, keep exploring.